Do you want to go first? Or hey everyone, my name is Valdiren. I'm a senior analyst at BeInCrypto, and with me today is Konstantin. He's our global trader, and today we're going to talk about the Ethereum merge, which is expected to occur on September 15th.
Yes. So you might start with sharing your views.
Okay, sure. So like just a brief description. So the merge is basically the formal adoption of the beacon chain as the new consensus layer. So once that happens, then validators will be assigned to secure the Ethereum mainnet, and mining on proof of work will no longer be a valid means of block production. So basically, Ethereum will go from a proof of work consensus to what it is right now to a proof of stake consensus. So yeah, this besides that, this upgrade will also set the stage for potential scalability upgrades in the future, which also include like potential sharding mechanisms. Now, when making the switch to Ethereum 2.0, so the cryptocurrency will still preserve its prior transactions, which occurred under the proof of work protocol. But from now on, it will basically record everything on the new proof of stake consensus. Yeah, so there are several basically several things which could occur afterwards. In my opinion, most will be positive. So the first thing which I am thinking is that this could potentially make Ethereum even safer because of slashing, which means that if you attack the network, if you're a malicious actor, then with proof of stake, it is possible to just like slash you, and then your money isn't there anymore. But with proof of work, you can't do that. So even if you have 51% of manage to get all the 51% of the network, it will still be harder to actually perform an attack on the network. And the next, which is the more important thing, in my opinion, is that Ethereum could effectively become deflationary in a while. And of course, it will become much more environmentally friendly, since obviously proof of work does consume a lot of electricity, and proof of stake will be much better in this regard. So this could even open up the possibility to a lot of different institutional investment in the future, especially with companies that are very carbon conscious.
Yes, I totally agree. And I think, especially right now, the focus on energy resources could potentially create a hype, because that's where the world is looking at right now. But I think it's not the only variable to consider. And I feel like there's a whole fight between traditional forks and, let's say, people focused on the scalability. And there's always this issue between decentralization and scalability, I think. And for me, blockchain has the potential to create a better world and a worse world, to be honest. And that's why I don't really like to speculate on anything, because it's really not decided yet. And I'm sitting back and just watch. If everything goes flawlessly, it will potentially have a positive impact on the price, simply because it can reach the mainstream and get more adoption. But on the other hand, it's very complex to accomplish what the guys are doing, and we will see if everything runs smoothly. We also know that some proof of stake coins had some security issues in the past, and we will see how Ethereum will deal with that.
Yeah, I agree with that, definitely. And yeah, also another thing which I thought about is that so right now with decreasing cryptocurrency prices and with increasing energy prices, so electricity prices have gone up. So even if you have a successful mining operation that has been profitable for a while, lots of long-term miners have begun to like basically fall below their cost of production. And in general, miners, in order to offset costs, what they do is they usually sell basically a part of the cryptocurrency that they are mining, especially in times when energy prices are as high as they are now. But once Ethereum becomes proof of stake, so this sell pressure will effectively be removed because obviously stakers or validators will probably not sell what they earn since it doesn't really cost them electricity, so they don't really have uh, tons of variable costs, obviously, since validating blocks is a lot less costly than mining them via proof of work consensus.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
But yeah, in general, I'm relatively excited for the merge. I mean, it has been basically like Ethereum 2.0 became a meme for a while since it was like announced such a long time ago, and then it just kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed. And now that it's actually finally here, so I think it would be. I mean, it's a exciting time ahead. And what do you think? Will it be possible, like in the near future, now if Ethereum especially gains even more interest to eventually surpass Bitcoin in market cap? So right now, I think it was like twice as low, if I'm not mistaken. I'll just check real quick. But yeah, so yeah, Bitcoin has a. It's slightly more than. It's basically like 49% of Bitcoin's market cap.
All right. Yeah, I mean, everything is possible, definitely. um, I think the narrative has to change for that. So if we see mass adoption and Ethereum can handle some stuff that we maybe don't even imagine right now, and solve issues that we weren't even aware that we have those issues, that could actually make a big difference. But just if we look at the history of Bitcoin, I think uh, as of right now, it's too early to surpass Bitcoin in its role, especially because there was this narrative going around for like years now that Bitcoin will profit from crisis, that it might be anti-fragile, that it profit from hyperinflation. And as the inflation skyrockets right now, Bitcoin is dumping. So
Yeah,
everybody is like, okay, maybe the narrative changed, maybe Bitcoin doesn't gain from chaos. But I think it's too early to say that because there's a lot of stuff coming in the next few years, I think. And we then have to decide if Bitcoin is still trading at lows or if it maybe hit a new all-time high.
yeah, definitely. I had forgotten about the narrative part that like Bitcoin would thrive in like times of chaos and potentially even like war. And now there's basically a confluence of factors which, if that narrative were true, Bitcoin would skyrocket. But no, the exact opposite has actually happened. So yeah, I agree with that. Like the narrative can change pretty quickly, so we don't.
Yeah. And also gold is dumping right now as well. So
Yes, and
even, yeah, the traditional store of value is failing, but I think it's just because it's too early to judge that. So we didn't reach the peak of the crisis, I think.
yeah, that makes sense. Uh, should we maybe move into some like TA on Ethereum, more of a technical side?
Definitely. I think, to be honest, I always try to avoid news and fundamentals and
Mm-hmm.
focus exclusively on technical analysis because I think price movements follow their own patterns
Yes.
and causalities are often falsely attributed. So we often think, okay, the price goes up because of that, but I think the price goes up and there's an event happening and we attribute that as a cause, but it's just like happening simultaneously, and it's like a distortion of reality. To be honest, I think the
Yeah.
only true reality is natural laws, cycles, and patterns, and that's why I love to stick to technical analysis. And even like this whole merge thing, they changed the names. You mentioned it was Ethereum 2.0. When I
2.0.
read about the merge, I wasn't even aware what is that, right? Because
What's
it's
the
the same
merge?
thing they're talking about for months now.
Yeah, that makes sense. I remember even in like late 2017, so there was this Bitcoin crash from about 4K to 2K, which was entirely attributed to the China ban, which was
Yeah.
like maybe the
All the
fifth
pub,
or sixth China ban. And then when the actual crash happened from like 20K to 4K, and there was like zero narrative, and people were like, okay, what happened this time? Like
market
there is
manipulation. That's what they
market.
say
Yeah,
then.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree.
And also, I don't know how many people are aware of that, but the market was completely overheated prior to COVID, prior to the
Hmm.
COVID crash. So nobody knew there's a virus going around. But from a technical analysis point of view, you could actually see that the big indexes, DJI and stuff like that, is basically that we had a bearish divergence in RSI and stuff, and it was just due for correction.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. Okay, so I will share my screen. Yeah, so okay, since we thought about the possibility of a flip, basically, I'll go with Ethereum Bitcoin first. So the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. So okay, basically, given so making the assumption that that supply of both Ethereum and Bitcoin will stay the same. Basically, Ethereum has to go at about 0.15 just to flip Bitcoin, because like slightly more than 100% increase relative to Bitcoin would be required. So actually that's higher, my bad. Maybe 1.6. So yeah, it has to basically go really, really close to an all-time high, or actually reach an all-time high. And so when I was looking at the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, so two things really stood out to me. The first is this bounce here. So like, yeah, I remember when this channel was being formed, and once we did have that breakout in the beginning of April, we had this like massive price increase, and then everything just like gradually fell. But then Ethereum returned and validated the resistance line of the channel during the actual low. So during the June low, USD low, it validated the resistance lines on the channel and bounced afterwards. So that was the first thing which really, really stands out to me. And the second, which even might be more important in my opinion, is this weekly RSI break. So basically, I really look for this whenever I can find them. And for me, this is really important because this trend line was a bearish divergence trend line. So basically, we had this bearish divergence here, which then led to the downward movement. And then if we just lengthen the same line, there was another rejection here. And here, I was actually expecting this to provide resistance. So at the time, I thought it would still continue going down because, yeah, we were basically here, right? So at the time, it seemed like some sort of a support resistance retest, in which also the RSI was facing resistance from the 50 line. But like, yeah, Ethereum showed strength and started to move upwards. So I actually think it will continue for a bit higher, not enough to flip Bitcoin, obviously, but yeah. So if I were doing a count, which yeah, I'd have it something like this, basically. So like this bounce here, probably wave 4, and then we have wave 5, which I mean could go to like I don't know 1-1 or something, maybe. And even if it like really extends, so if wave 5 is the same length as waves 1 and 2 combined. It would just go to 1, 2. So yeah, I don't think it flips Bitcoin in this cycle, at least, or in the near future.
So do you
Yeah,
want to
but
move to the US dollar chart, or should I give my 2 cents on the Ethereum Bitcoin chart?
yeah, sure, go ahead if you want. I'll just stop the screen, sorry.
Actually, I'm at this exact same position, but from a different point. So let me just share the screen real quick. All right. Is it visible?
No, now it is, yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because for me it's the same thing. We had the key resistance. It's the golden ratio right there, and if we can break it, we will most likely surge to the last highs and maybe to the all-time high, somewhere between 0.12 and 0.15. But also, if we get rejected now, which would be the third time in a row because we got rejected here, we could get rejected now. I think we could easily retrace down to the FIB levels 0.069 and 0.061. But even like the MACD, the histogram is ticking higher, and I'm leaning bullish for a bullish breakout, but very slightly. So just as a small preference, I think simply because we hit the resistance 2 times and got strong support at the 50-month EMA, that we could now break it. But then again, I think it depends on the next few days, actually.
Yeah, then that would be the next resistance if I'm reading it correctly. So the 112 line, the red, that first lower high from like 2018.
Yeah. So we probably have a big jump if we break it. Easily 40%. But even then, I think it wouldn't flip Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Also,
definitely.
that would we have to see what Bitcoin does. And if you watch the last live stream, you know our position at Bitcoin right now. But things are not looking too bullish right now.
Yeah, I agree.
So do you want to continue with the US dollar chart?
Sure. Do you want to go ahead since like you're already
Yeah,
sharing
okay.
the screen? Yeah.
So for me, it's super simple right now. We got rejected at the FIB level. We are bearish right now, and for me, it depends on on this month. At least we could stay above the 50 months EMA last month, which was kind of good. This month, it's really everything is possible, but in the short term, it depends for me. As long as we don't break 1,800, we remain bearish, and we could go as low as 1,300, where we could bounce off heavily. But even if we break that level, we could go lower, maybe to the last low at 800, maybe establishing new lows. So as long as we don't break the 1,800, I remain bearish with potential, with a potential bounce off the support at 1,300. And there are so many resistances right now. We are also facing the 200 weekly EMA, so which is at 1,600, and right now we are still below that level. So yeah, everything is possible right now.
Definitely. Yeah, I fully agree with that.
And that's everything I have to say about Ethereum right now.
Okay, I'll share my screen then. So unlike the daily chart and everything, I agree with you, especially on the levels. And yes, so I'm not using any MAs right now, but even the RSI and the price action like horizontal levels basically show the same thing. So this 1900 resistance here, where I think the 200 week MA was, I'm not sure. So yeah, like crucial support level for like nearly a year. And then afterwards we had a breakdown, and on the come up, price got rejected here. It did create this bearish engulfing candlestick on the weekly, which is a pretty bad sign. And also, so yeah, if whoever's watching, if you guys remembered like the weekly RSI in the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, basically this bearish divergence trend line here, right? So in Ethereum, Bitcoin was broken, but in Ethereum USD it's still there. And on top of that, the RSI is below 50. So yeah, in order for me to turn bullish, like longer term, I'd need to see this happen. So yeah, if this goes, I'm definitely bullish, because I mean, if this were to happen, then Ethereum would definitely go here, because like the RSI can't move upwards without the price actually going there. So yeah, basically this would need to happen on the weekly time frame. Now, I know in general, even though I'm like leaning on having another leg down, what's really making me hesitant is just like how oversold everything has been. Like basically this RSI here is an all-time low. So I don't know, like sometimes I think that I'm just like trying to, I don't know, like find the daily or weekly bottom, when in a like long-term horizon it's still very close to bottoming, because just how oversold everything is. But yeah, I mean, we have to even look at lower time frames. But yeah, the daily I have the exact same thoughts, like in the shorter term as you. So yeah, basically we had this bullish divergence here in the RSI, and the RSI actually did break out from its resistance line here, but we haven't really had a very pronounced upward movement. But even if we did, I would be looking at that same. So yeah, I think you were using the golden ratio also. So this same like 1800 level here for resistance, probably that and rejection, and then a fall towards the like 1300 level, which was this, yeah, this longer term 0.618 level. So yeah, even so, if that, let's say, if that merge narrative were to actually transpire, and Ethereum were to become extremely bullish after the merge. So this is September 15. Let me just do a vertical line. So maybe something like this, like a decrease coming to the merge, and then maybe an upward movement. So yeah, if that narrative were to like actually commence, I don't know, I'd expect something like this. But yeah, I think we definitely visit 1300 in the near future.
Perfect. Do you see
Okay,
any questions from the community?
let me check really quick. No, actually, Telegram is silent right now. So it's
I
slightly
think there's
less
one
than.
question. Some previous info on where to hold Ethereum before the merge week. Um,
Uh,
but that was on
yes,
YouTube, actually. This part.
yes, but I'm not sure I understand that. Like, I mean, I'm still holding it in the same.
No, I think he's asking that probably. Well, this person is asking that probably because if you get some airdrops, sometimes you have to hold it in your own
Uh-huh.
private wallet with your own private
Yes.
key.
Yes.
I
I mean,
think
yeah.
uh, I want to be cautious, but I think in this case it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. Like, I mean, I haven't moved like my long-term Ethereum from my cold storage for like a very long time. I haven't even checked it, to be honest.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm just leaving it there.
And I think all the big exchanges they participate anyway, so You don't
Yeah.
necessarily have to hold it in your own wallet,
Yeah.
but take that with a grain of salt, because if it would be otherwise, that would be a big problem. But I'm pretty sure you can hold it on Binance and all the other big exchanges.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, then so I guess maybe this is it.
Yeah, if there's no question coming in, I mean, we discussed everything. I mean, to summarize, we both remain bearish until we break the 1,800 with potential retracement targets of 1,300. If we break that level, we might go very low, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Okay, so then everyone, thanks for watching. To those who watched, and we will see you on next week's video on another topic.
Bye bye.
Bye.